Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I really have quite an important message I feel that I need to share with everyone. I've been channeling this message for a couple of days, and I was doing my cards and you know, my work yesterday, and the Page of Wands kept on coming out, which indicated that I needed to get this message out quite quickly, and it was important, and haste was important. So my name is Nicole. I don't like to box myself in and say what I am. I do a lot of things. I am a healer and I'm a conduit, and this message is being channeled and brought to you with absolute divine love and for the highest and the best intention of everybody. I know that some people won't agree with it, some people will find fault with it, but you know, I'm just here to be that channel and to deliver the message. I have got no attachment to the outcome of this message. I'm just trusting in the universe to bring the right people. So when you are on this channel and you hear this message, know that you have been divinely led here, because there's something in this message that will resonate with you, that you need to hear. So please take what does resonate and leave the rest for everyone else. Okay, so the theme of today is healing the world. The world is in turmoil. The world, Mother Gaia is crying out. There is so much happening. There are so much energy shifts happening in the world at the moment. There's so much movement. There's so much emotion. There are wars happening all over the place. There are deforestation happening. We are drilling in and we are hurting our earth. We are hurting each other. And the energies are a little bit chaotic because we are shifting. The world is shifting. And people are going, well, you know, the world is absolutely crazy. Look what's happening all over. How do we heal the world? How do we heal the world? People are asking these questions. And yes, it's to do with climate change, and we need to heal the environment. And yes, we do need to heal our earth because she is our provider. And we would be nowhere without Mother Gaia. But how do we heal the people on the earth? Because people hurt people. And if you look around and all the terrible stuff that is happening, it's happening because people have put those things into motion. People are going around the world in all different countries doing their business, but from an unhealed and traumatized place, and it's actually impacting. It's impacted on everybody and others. So really, the answer to healing the world, and I know this sounds very trite, and I know we've all heard it before, but it actually is love. But it is love of the highest and purest form. It is literally you being a conduit for love, for the highest good of everybody, the highest good of yourself and the highest good of others. And I say to my clients, I say this a lot, I say, can you imagine what is the highest good for somebody? If you take somebody that you love, family member, friend, colleague, whatever, somebody that you really love, respect, and truly care for, and you say, I want for their highest good. What is it that you're actually asking for? I don't even think whatever we can imagine for their highest good, riches and material wealth and health and healthy body and healthy mind and beautiful clothes and lovely food, and whatever we can imagine for the good of that person is but a drop and a pinprick of what Spirit and the universe actually wants for the good of us all, for the good of you, for the good of me, for the good of mankind. And I think we've lost sight of that because as society and as modern society, we've all been conditioned, and conditioned in the way we think and the way we act and what we do, but also conditioned to be more insular, conditioned to be more selfish. And of course, that is going to impact us, and it's going to impact everybody around us. So what I see is, and what I've observed, people, we are scared of, you know, in general, I'm talking in general now, we are wary and guarded when we come across people from other cultures, other beliefs, you know, other ethnicities. They look slightly different to us, they speak different to us, they have different beliefs, ceremonies, religions, and we fear the unknown. I mean, naturally, as a human, that is how you are conditioned, to fear the unknown because you want to keep yourself safe. And you know, it goes back to primal days when we were out in the wild and we saw an animal that we didn't know what it was. Our instinct is to fear that and to push it away and to kind of dislike it. until we learn that it's safe, that it's okay, that it's not going to harm us, that it's, it's domesticated to a certain extent. We naturally repel and push those that are not like us away. But what happens is the vibration then is skewed, and when put on top of that all of our trauma as an unhealed species, and it just put that all into the pot, and it literally is chaos. There are more and more people that are having awakenings on the earth and the planet, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's wonderful, and it needs to happen, and it should happen. And we've seen it escalate, especially since the pandemic, because people have had time, like when they were at home, they've had time to decompress from the hustle and bustle of going to work. They've had time to sit with themselves. They've had time to let their thoughts come in. They've had time to let spirit in to speak to them and to see changes and to actually start getting to know themselves. And so we've seen like a really worldwide explosion of people waking up spiritually. But at the same time, when you do have your spiritual awakening, everybody starts with baby steps. Everybody starts with baby steps. And so we're not fully healed, because that's part of our journey here, is when we have our spiritual awakening, and when we want to do things, and when we get moved by spirit, and when we get pushed onto our life's path and our purpose and what we're actually here for. It's all a learning curve, and it takes time. So the big message that actually came through was that when we are in alignment with ourselves, with our true purpose, with what we're here to do, when we are in line and we've woken up, and this goes for leaders as well, and sadly to say that nobody's perfect, everybody is human, so people are flawed, and you have a great responsibility when people are following you, when they're listening to you, when they're listening to what you have to say. You really have to come from a place of pureness and pure intent and pure love, and be that open conduit, that channel that is just the messenger from the divine, and not putting ego or your own fear-based slant on things. So the big thing that came through is you need to just be this beautiful conduit of absolute love and light, and not be attached. Now, what happens in this world, especially that we've seen, there's a lot of unrest, there's a lot of hatred towards each other, is we get polarized. So what happens is one side does something that's really awful, and the other side will retaliate. And then there's awful atrocities and heartbreak and horrific things happening on both sides to each other, and people are polarized to one way or the other because of your beliefs, your conditioning, your family, where you live, all that sort of thing. And of course, everyone's going to say, Nicole, like, that is just crazy. If somebody does something bad to me, like really, really awful to me or my family, how am I supposed to, just turn the other cheek, or love them through it, or forgive them? Because that's a really tall ask, and I understand that is a really tall ask. But two wrongs don't make a right, and we've seen that over and over and over and over and over again in the world. And the healing process actually does begin with being that conduit of love and light. So my message today is not necessarily particularly for people that are going through a lot of conflict or are in parts of the world where there's really bad things going, because what I ask is, it's superhuman and it is very difficult to do. But what I do ask is that those of us that are pretty much in a safe environment, that have got freedom of choice, that are open, and most people that come to my channel will already be on their spiritual journey in some way, shape or form. I don't believe that you'll be totally new here. But your job as spiritual healers, as light workers, as conduits, is to hold that vibration steady, to hold that heart vibration steady and open and channeled right up to the divine, so that the love can come in and out of you through your heart chakra, through your heart space, without any attachment to outcome, without any ego, and without you polarizing or your vibration leaning one way or the other. You have to be totally neutral, and you have to, it's a hard place to be, because we watch the news and we hear the news, and it's hard not to form opinions, and it's hard not to gravitate towards one side or the other. It's hard as a human to say to not say one side is right and one side is wrong. But what's happening is, when we polarize one side, We are going there with all that, and it changes that vibration. And because there will be a lot of trauma and a lot of unhealed energy there, it pushes the pendulum back the other way. Okay? And human nature is we want revenge. We want justice, or what we perceive as justice. We want things to happen, and then the whole lot of unhealed energy and vibration goes here, and then it swings all the way back, because then there's retaliation on the other side, and so it goes in lots of different parts of our planet, in lots of different areas, between lots of different types of people and kinds of people. And we've seen this play out like in so many communities, really. And so the time is coming where we need to stop that. And those that are enlightened, those that are leaders, those that are spiritual leaders, that say they are spiritual leaders, we always need to use discernment when we follow somebody, when we listen to things on YouTube, when we make somebody our advocate, or our hero, so to speak, because people are human, and we've seen that. We've seen the layers being stripped back from so many people, from politicians, from people in power, from movie stars in Hollywood, to teachers, people from various religious walks of life. And we've been exposed to the ugly side of things, because we need to realize that people are human. Your ego mind comes into play, and not even just your ego mind. It's just that taste of success, that taste of power. It's quite heady, and that's why the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility, because that is so true. So be very discerning when you follow people. But even in the spiritual leadership realm, there are people that seem really fantastic and really great on the outside, and they have lots and thousands, millions of followers, but they are still human. And if they are not following their path, and they are not really in true alignment with Source, things are happening behind the scenes that we don't see. So always be discerning of who you follow and what you believe. You will know. You've been given a gut instinct. You've been given intuition for a reason. Okay, so I wanted to actually do a card reading. Really, love at the highest level, love of the purest kind, love for yourself, love for humanity, love for others. Love for yourself is so important and rich. I'm going to do another video on love for yourself, because that in itself is just a whole nother chapter and story. But it is so much more than just surface love for yourself. It changes everything. It changes a lot of things. Things that you do, things that you say, how you see the world, how you see yourself, how you look after yourself, how you show up in the world afterwards. It's amazing. So when you are looking at that, when we're asking you to love and to be a conduit of love, and to be steady and not polarize, and really give out love. But how can you stand in that pure divine, as a divine channel of love, when you yourself are not either on your healing path, healed, or working, or understanding what needs to be done to heal that? Because otherwise you're coming from a place of unhealed. It's difficult then to stand the path. It's difficult not to get sucked into it. It's difficult not to get polarized. It's difficult not to voice your opinion. But remember, there's always three sides to every story. There's their side, your side, and the truth. And being so polarized and joining sides and being very vocal about things when you don't understand the whole situation can be very damaging. So what we've got from Spirit, we've got the Hierophant, we've got 2 of Pentacles, we've got the 5 of Pentacles, we've got the Death card. Okay, and this is not a terrible, don't worry, the Death card doesn't mean that. I know that many of you know that. But what these cards are telling me is the Hierophant. The Hierophant, in this reading, it stands for the establishment. Okay, it's the way the world is now. It is very traditional. It's traditional in the way that it thinks. You are conditioned to go to school to learn certain things. You are conditioned to go to university afterwards, or get into a trade, or be some sort of apprentice, and then go to work for the rest of your life and exchange your time and your energy and your brains and your capacity for money. And that is the establishment. It's tradition. And we've lived in a patriarchal society for a very long, where it's changing. I mean, it's all changing. We know that it's all changing. We can see the shifts. Where at one stage men were deemed better humans than females, and they were able to hold the seats of power, and females were not. And I don't have to go into all of that because we know that. But it's still today. It's things like having elections and being conditioned to do things in a way like people will tell you, like, don't get into that way of work because that work, being an artist doesn't make any money, or you have to go and through these 7 steps to get to where you're going. And it's very conditioned in us, and with conditioning comes fear. We fear. I mean, what happens is we go around in circles, okay? And this is us. We are hustling and bustling. So the twos are partnership cards, right? They're also cards of stability, not as stable as the 4s, but they are a grounding. It's a grounding number. But in the 2 of Pentacles, nobody's grounded. If you actually look, the C's at the back are choppy. This poor guy is juggling. He's juggling his finances, he's juggling his food, he's juggling his safety and security, he's juggling repayments and mortgages, and he's on it's on an infinity sign, so it is literally endless. It's going round and round and round and round, and it's like a hamster wheel, and he cannot get off, because if he stops his job, he won't have money to pay for his food or pay for his accommodation. And if he gets chucked out of there, how is he going to look after his family? And if he follows his passion, he's been told that that's not going to make any money, so that's what he believes. So if he does stop his work, he's not going to make any money, because that's what he's conditioned to believe. And we all end up a lot poorer, okay? I feel in the world at the moment, people are struggling so badly. The 5 of Pentacles is a card of struggle. It's a card of lack. It's a card of being in a cycle where you cannot see a way out. But it's also a card of change, because 5s are change. And what they don't realize is there's a beautiful church right there. I mean, we assume it's a church because it's got stained glass, and the age of when tarot was made, churches were very, very influential. And there are lights on in the church. So there are people there just behind that glass who can potentially help, who can potentially give rest, who can potentially give warmth, food, clothes, shelter for the evening. But because we're just so focused on surviving, we do not see the help. We do not see the wood for the trees, and it is really difficult. And what Spirit is saying, death needs to happen. And what is death? Death is stopping something that isn't working. In the tarot cards, death is actually rebirth. Death and rebirth are just like, but you're stopping doing what no longer serves you, what you have been told to do, but has kept you in the cycle of going round and round and round and never getting anywhere. Never getting anywhere. Sometimes when I say never get anywhere, you'll say, but there's some people that have got lovely houses, they've got lovely cars, the outward expression of wealth in a modern world and modern society. We've got cell phones, we've got, decent, we can go out and buy things that we need. We don't have to worry too much. We always look nice, we drive nice cars, etc. But you know what? Those are just surface and frivolous trappings, really. Because if you actually think about it, a lot of people that have all of those trappings are spiritually and emotionally poor. And some people are materially poor because they've been on this wheel and they cannot see a way out. And so Spirit is saying, enough is enough now. We have danced this dance far too long. We need to stop, and we need to make change. And how do you see? So if you see here, it's the Hierophant, you can see, and there's some gentlemen down there with their robes. And if you actually look here, I don't know, where's my camera there? You can see, like, that is actually representation, I suppose, of religion. That's a representation of a king, there's crowns fallen off. So it is representation of the establishment, of the way things are now, of the old ways that need to change with this new energy and this new way that's coming in. It can't exist. It literally cannot exist because it's two polar opposites, and we cannot be in an elevating world that is changing up in energy and changing up in vibration and still have these old outdated ideas and ways of controlling people and controlling things. And a lot of the time when conflict happens in the world is because we don't agree with what the other side is saying. We don't agree with their religious points of view. We don't agree with their cultural beliefs or their ceremonies that they hold. And it makes us fearful and scared. And so we lash out. And we try and impose our thoughts and our beliefs and our way of life onto others. And that never works. That is like unhealed masculine energy trying to force. Okay? And the only way that we really, really can heal this world is literally through unconditional love. And it's been said, but I don't know if people truly, truly understand what unconditional love is. Unconditional love is saying, I see your hurt. I see your pain. I see why you want to actually lash out at me. But let's work through this together. How can I help you? Can I listen to you? How can I make this better? You know, it's feeling for others, and it's standing just really in the middle. And people are going to, I know, not like this and say, well, you know, you should really choose a side, or right or wrong. But who's to say who's right and who's wrong? Why did something start in the first place? Do we know the whole story? Do we know the whole truth? Do we know how something started? All we're seeing are repercussions and maybe end results, and we don't understand fully. And even if it comes from a place of awfulness, retaliating and damaging, try to cause more damage is not the answer. It'll just carry on. It'll just be a cycle. Like, you'll literally carry on going round and round and round and round and round, and everyone is going to be the worse off for it. No one is going to be better off for it. So thank you for listening to me today, and I really do hope that I was able to express what Spirit has laid on me and on my heart, because it's quite difficult sometimes to express what comes and gets channeled in you, and to say it and verbalize it into words. And I'm just an ordinary person, and I do have a gift. I understand that, and really my gift is to share it with you. So don't forget, there's an 11/11 portal on Monday. This is the 11th of November 2024. It is very potent. The veil is very thin. It is really an amazing time to connect, just to sit and even just to sit either in silence or move your body, but move it in a way that you're actually connecting and you are able to get some messages. It's really, really a potent time and a wonderful time to be exploring all these things and finding out how can you make a difference. You know, you really can, and don't ever fall into the trap of thinking you're just one person, because one person, you one person, somebody else is one person, somebody else is one person, somebody else is one person, and all together we make up a community. And when we are in alignment, oh my gosh, those energies, the energy of one person in alignment is worth like 50 people out of alignment. Really, probably even more. I don't know if, actually no, I don't know what, but it is really, when you're in alignment and you are really being true to yourself, to your authentic self, and in alignment with Source, wow, you are potent and you are powerful, and you can do so much good. So blessings and love, and I will chat to you again sometime soon.